Hey, today I'm going to teach you 3 sidechain techniques that can add punchiness, space, and life to your mixes. With these 3 techniques, you can take your mixes to the next level. Let's get into it. This is technique 1, a tried and true classic, sidechaining your bass guitar with your kick. To do this in Reaper, we just need to take our kick drum and send it to our bass channel. We can do this by clicking on this route button here and dragging it up into our bass channel, like this. Now the channel's routed. The next step is to change which channels our receiving track is getting. So we're going to change this to 3 and 4. That way our compressor can be triggered by the sidechain input. Alright, next we've just got to add recomp to our channel, change our detector input into auxiliary, then change our ratio to something like 4:1. You can go pretty extreme with this and go as high as you want. Then just adjust the threshold to get the desired amount of compression. You can get pretty extreme with this. With this song, I wouldn't do more than 4 or 6 dBs of compression. To take this effect to the next level, we can time our release to the song. I usually choose a 32nd or a 64th note if I'm using recomp for this technique. So we're going to choose a 32nd note, which using our online calculator, we see is 68 milliseconds. That way, our release is timed perfectly with the music. To make this effect even more effective, we can use something like Pro MB, which is a multi-band compressor, to just compress the low end when the kick hits. This way, our bass tone doesn't suffer, our bass still cuts through, but the kick drum punches through all that low end and adds the punch we need from it. Using Pro MB, it's as simple as changing our input to external, then adding a band on our low end, and then triggering it with a sidechain. I've got mine set with a fast attack and a fast to medium release. This way, I can just clean up the low end on any of the quick kick hits and make sure my kick has enough low end without fighting my bass for the space. Awesome, that was technique 1. On to technique 2. This one I like to use to add snare impact to parts or to the whole song. It's sidechaining our guitar and bass to our snare drum. We use the same routing technique as before in Reaper to achieve this by routing our snare channel to our guitar and bass bus. Then, using recomp, I've got it ducking on every snare hit in this breakdown. Let's have a listen to it. The sickness! As you can see here, I've got the plugin wet, automating on and off. So this plugin is only active in this part of the song. If we solo the guitar and bass channels, you'll notice that it's quite extreme compression that's happening to this. If I was mixing these channels in solo, I probably wouldn't do a move like that. But in the context of the mix, it adds a heap of energy to the snare drum and even accents the rhythm of the part, making the guitars feel like they hit on the offbeat while maintaining the steady backbeat of the snare. To take this another step forward, I've got the same routing as before, but just using Pro MB. This effect is active throughout the whole song. It's just ducking these channels by a few dB every time the snare hits. This means that our snare attack is always consistent and always cuts through the mix. On to our third and final technique. This one's on the vocals. For this one, I have our vocal effects sidechained to duck by our main vocal. In a mix like this, it's super dense and there's heaps of stuff going on the high end. I'm cleaning up the high end of the vocal effects sends by ducking it with the main vocal. I'm doing this with FabFilter Pro Q3. Ducking around 7.6K, then ducking the high end at 9.4K. This is what that effect sounds like soloed. First we'll hear it without the effect. You'll hear there's a lot of sizzly and harsh high end there in the vocal effects. I've controlled this by sidechaining it to the main vocal. This is with the effect on. The main use for this effect is just to make some space for the high end of the main vocal so it cuts through and sounds in your face without sounding overly bright. Hopefully these techniques can help you take your mixes to the next level. Sidechaining is a super powerful tool and can be used in many different ways. These are just a few of the ways I use it in various mixes to add punchiness, space, and overall depth to my mixes. Let me know if you have any cool sidechain techniques that you enjoy doing in your mixes in the comments below. See you next time.